DJ LeRoy.
Night Watchman. How have you been, my brother?
Good, good, good. It's our first show for the new year.
And
So,
what more appropriate than actually happening on Martin Luther King Jr. Day? You know,
absolutely.
this is
Yep.
this is really really monumental, considering all the crazy stuff that has definitely happened. Across the country was locked in because of Omicron. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
never ending. The Night Watchman, never ending. So, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
confident that this particular show, where we're going to actually talk about, we're going to talk about black music. We're going to talk about soul music. We're going to be talking about American music. Okay, the key
Sounds like
things.
a plan.
Absolutely. So you know what? I think what we should do is give a little homage to Miss Angela Harden for putting it right in our bailiwick and saying, "Hey, we got this particular event that's going to be happening on in March. You know what? So you need to actually find out more about that. So why don't we bring out? I guess it's going to be a tag team, literally from Community Board 10, Central Harlem. What do you think about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's bring out a state committee woman herself, the one, the only, incomparable Miss Wilma Brown. Bring her out, Wilma.
Hi,
Welcome to
guys.
Soul Lounge Prime Time.
Thank you so much. And you know what, Curtis and Bob?
What?
I'm actually the district leader and not the state
Oh,
committee woman. But
but
that is
Mm.
all
my
good.
bad. But
That
also
is
let them
all
know
good.
then, Wilma,
Mhm.
what's happening on the 18th.
January the 18th is a big election in the 68th district. That would be replacing our state secretary, which is Robert Rodriguez. His
Hmm.
position as the assemblyman of the 68th district is
Hmm.
people are running for that particular seat. I'm not going to
Gotcha.
say the names, but I ask you to come out and vote. I don't want to
Vote,
endorse, but come out and vote. The
ladies and
68th
gentlemen.
district.
Vote. You heard it from Wilma. Vote.
It's
Use
so
it or
it's
lose it.
Yes.
yes, that's right, and that's where what is happening now. So please come out
Gotcha.
and vote. Mhm.
Okay. And not to be outdone, her tag team partner is the one, the only. It's the George Harrell. George, where are you, my brother? Come on out here.
My brother, my brother.
Hi,
Yes.
everyone.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I feel amazing to be in the presence of great men and women.
Yes,
And you
so
know what?
true.
Night Watchman, that's why we have him on, because we always need a hype person. You know
Morale Media.
that. So one thing for sure, this other guest that we're bringing out here, he's literally one of the people I follow, and he'll talk about his journey, but he's definitely been, as they say, deep in the sauce, putting in the secret sauce in terms of black music, and that is the one, the only Marko Nobles. Bring him out,
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good
Marko,
evening.
Marco,
my
how
brother.
are
How you
you?
doing?
Good evening.
I'm well, I'm well. Happy Martin Luther King Day, and I'm honored to be on with you and be on Soul Lounge Prime Time. I followed you guys for a long time as well, and it's an honor to be able to be here and talk about black music.
It's a
Beautiful. This is what
WHCR
we're talking about.
crossover event. Yeah, it's like the
Yes, that's right.
Avengers.
That's right.
so uh lady, gentlemen, please do tell, because Lord knows, we certainly know, being on the eve of Martin Luther Jr. King's birthday, his the celebration, we all heard, what was the spiritual? It was "We Shall Overcome." But we
Yes.
certainly do know that black music runs deep. It has a long and storied history. So I like to know, for instance, George, do tell me your
Yes.
journey in terms of your promotional skills, in terms of really, really getting deep in the music that you were surrounded by.
I have to give homage to a gentleman named Andre Harrell. Uh,
Mm.
Oh,
uh,
yes, yes.
he,
May he
he
rest in
gave
power.
me rest in power. He gave me an opportunity to be one of the founders of a company called Uptown Records. We came into the industry at the time when hip hop was starting, and I learned how to, from demo to platinum, was the
Mm,
way that I learned the business and everything in between. And I'm just grateful to stand on the shoulders of guys like James Brown. I saw icons when I was younger that were very creative. And in my time period, I was able to learn a lot more about the structure of the way the business runs. So in the times we are in now, we do a lot of cross branding out after we make the record that we can make astronomical amounts of money now in the black
Wow.
community.
Mm,
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. So
that's
now,
good.
Wilma, normally I don't think about you and music, but remember, you're all into the entertainment. I think about you when I think of course, what's eating Harlem, what's going on there. But do tell us about you and your journey.
Well, it's real simple. I am one of those individuals who connect to anything and everything. And of course, my husband and I, Paul Phillips, the executive producer of What's Eating Harlem, is still around and doing great things. But I had the opportunity to meet the great and honorable George Harrell on the Community Board 10. And I was just so in awe with him. I joined him in his music venture, and not only his music venture, he asked that I become a part of his arts and culture um, committee.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
I just thought that was fabulous because to me it all connected. I think all of us in our background have music in our world. And
True.
so, what better way to be? What better journey to be on is one with my buddy Harrell. But
Uh, George.
again,
Oh
being bored
yes.
with George, I call him Harold, George Harold sometimes, Harold whatever, because he has all these names, but his he does because he's just good at what he does. So that's my beginning journey, and I just hope that there will be no end. There will
Absolutely.
be no end, and I think there's no end for any of us on here today. Is that we keep going, we keep going. So
Absolutely.
again, thank you.
Absolutely. So, Marco, needless to say, we already commented about your background there, having a vinyl, baby. So you're going old school. You're
Yeah.
going back to the source. So Rhythm and Soul Radio, I've been a big, big fan of you, your productions, doing all that's out there. You know what, Marco? Do tell. Is there any difference between soul, R&B, and neo soul? And if there are, what are the subtleties, the differences?
um, I don't see it as a major difference. It's really more around marketing.
Mm.
Um, and how and because music needs to be put in boxes and labels um, for those who are going to sell the at that time records now streams to be able to package it and sell it and George can probably talk to that even more so but when you talk about soul. Every music has some element of soul. Like what we do with
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm and
Hmm.
Soul Radio, we call it urban eclectic radio because we play everything from we say black rock to hip hop. It all
Mm.
has some element of soul, which is why we call it Rhythm and Soul Radio. So
Mm-hmm.
there's soul in rock music. There's
Mm-hmm.
soul in what you hear from Jimi Hendrix and Prince and
Mm-hmm.
Lenny Kravitz.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's soul in what you hear, obviously, from a Maxwell or a Jill Scott or
Mm-hmm.
Gladys Knight or Patti LaBelle or Sam Cooke,
Mm-hmm.
and there's soul in what you hear from folks like KRS One and Houdini
Mm.
and Notorious B.I.G. and Wale and and Drake and so there's soul in all of it because that is the essence of who we are and the essence of the music, and then that filters out and manifests itself in different ways. But then starts getting broken up into different categories, whether it's soul or R&B or hip hop
Mm-hmm.
or neo soul or hip hop soul or you know rock or whatever it is, because it has to be sold in a way so that people can digest it and those behind the scenes can you know make the monies they need to make off of it.
Gotcha. So in all of this, the secret sauce is soul, no doubt.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
So, Night Watchman, you try to hide behind the scenes, but I do know that you got your little start being a radio jock there in college, huh?
That's
Wow.
correct. That's correct. I did my first radio show in September of 1976. Believe it or not.
Wow. You don't do
So
it.
yeah,
You don't.
I've been on the mic a little while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think.
Barely.
Go ahead.
Just out of high school, and got my FC. At that point in time, you had to get an FCC license to be on the radio, so it was a little bit more of a process.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had records, and we had cart machines, and reel to reel. It's now everything is digital. But the music is still music. That's the interesting thing, is that there has been no change. Music, there's good music is good music, and I find it interesting. I love watching TikTok videos of young kids dancing to James Brown songs. And it just shows good music is good music,
and it's timeless. You're absolutely right. I believe that we have also been joined by Mr. Chris Curry. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you
absolutely
perfectly, clearly.
All right.
Clearly. How you doing, buddy?
All right. I'm doing wonderful. I'll be even better. George is sitting there looking like he's upset about it. Did you all upset George?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay. Oh, no, there's a smile. That's the smile I'm used to.
I stand behind you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right.
So, Chris, you need to let us know about your journey, and also in terms of for 2022, with COVID still around us, what things you got planned this year?
Well, I'm still writing. I'm always going to be writing something that's relevant in terms of what's happening in society. I was able to put together a montage of people, and that's just part one, because there's going to be a part two and a part three, of song entitled Positive Image, which I wrote back in 1975. Desiree Coleman was the lead then when she was 17. She's now much older, but she's the one that's on the current recording.
Okay.
So we're getting that out there, and basically I'm just working on a book, which is going to probably take the whole year. I know George will probably have a lot to say about my book, but I'm going to reach out to him to see if he can assist with it. The title of the book is That Hairy Little Thing, which I go through history all the way back in time, all the way up to now, in terms of how that hairy little thing has always led to the demise of many men folk and women folk to a degree. So I've got actual factual historical stories going all the way back to ancient times coming up to now, and they're going to be little chapters, little 2 or 3 paragraphs, and it's just so revealing. And you never know how you can make the New York Times bestsellers list if people are interested in it, depending upon how I present it, but I'm gonna keep it moving. Why? Because I'm alive and I can do.
Yes, indeed. That's how you have to roll. You certainly have piqued my interest with what was that hairy little thing?
Yeah, the title of the book is That Hairy Little Thing.
Wow. Night Watchman, I'm not going to touch that one. What about you?
I'm waiting for more instructions.
Well, needless to say, as I mentioned at the top of the show, that Angela Harden had actually put you guys on my radar, Wilma and George. So you have something coming up in March. Do tell. What's happening?
George, please.
You want me to do it, or
yes, sir.
Well, the best way for me to say it that I will enjoy it is to say that being in the music business and growing up and Martin Luther King projects and
Mm-hmm.
being the chair of arts and culture today,
Mm-hmm.
I have the luxury of working with Maxwell,
Mm. Okay.
Grammy Award winning artist. And as the chair of arts and culture and community board 10, we're giving 2 tickets away to go to the Maxwell concert. All you have to do is come on our arts and culture call, and you're in the running when Wilma, vice chair of arts and culture, picks out a name out of the hat to win a pair of tickets. And
Really? What is this? What is this?
the drawing is in February 14th.
Mm.
The show is at the Prudential Center in Newark on March 11th,
Mm.
and Joe and Anthony Hamilton are on the show.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Imagine.
Uh,
Imagine.
you talk
So
about the
let me just
serious
say-
crooners. Serious
Yes.
crooners. Mhm.
What the real premise is there's so much information given out about our community at Community Board 10 that we want to excite people to come to the board meetings the first Wednesday of every month, and they can learn everything they need to know that's happening in our district. And I'm just using arts and culture as a carrot to get people to come in. And we will be having all kinds of exciting promotions during the course of the year.
Wow. So this is an opportunity for folks to live and learn about what's happening in their community, and they can even weigh in if there's something that they want to address. The community board meetings is where that can happen.
That's true.
We have an opportunity. We want to hear from the community.
Okay.
We want to include the community in everything we do. We are the voice for the community to the politicians. And Wilma could speak a little bit more to that.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
how
You're the
I think
politics
about it.
person, Wilma. So let me
No,
hear.
no, I'm just a person who likes music like you guys. Who likes music. And my thing is, what better way to engage our community is through music. We
Mhm.
know that if we get these Maxwell tickets, who don't like Maxwell? Who
Yeah.
don't like Anthony Hamilton?
Right.
There is a lot going on in our community that we need to all band together and let it not be just one person's voice, let it be all our voice. So joining forces with George was it was very easy. And a Maxwell concert, 2 tickets. It's really easy. Just get on the virtual Zoom on February the 14th, and we're going to do a virtual grab bag, and we're going to make it happen. But also during this time, who don't want to be involved with their community after
Right.
what all of us have been going through since 2020. And I don't
Mhm.
even want to say the big P word. It used to be the C word, but now I say the pandemic, the big P. This is going to be, it's important that we all band together. And again, I speak of George Harrell, name real large. This is about music. This is a great incentive in bringing us all together through music.
Nice.
That's all I
nice.
have to say. This is
Beau-
great.
Beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful. And Marko, you have, of course, participated every year, basically
Yeah.
almost since the founding, in terms of Harlem Week. Do
Yep.
tell me,
Mm.
in terms of your ability, and what have you had to do differently to pivot during this time? And what do you actually have in store this Harlem Week, 2022?
Let me just backtrack really quick and congratulate George and Wilma in how they are helping to have music bring people together as it always does.
Mhm.
Yes.
When as we're talking on Martin Luther King Day,
Mhm.
and you think about how music has always been instrumental in bringing people together, whether it's the civil rights movement, whether before that it was the drum,
Mhm.
talking from tribe to tribe in Africa.
Mhm.
It's always about music bringing us together. So kudos again to George and Wilma for using incredible music
Mhm.
with Maxwell and Joe and Anthony Hamilton as a carrot to bring people to the community so that people can talk to each other, and the community board can indeed be the voice of the community, like WHCR is the voice of Harlem. So
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
Yes.
so with all of that, Harlem Week, through the pandemic, like most everything that has been people focused, Harlem Week had to pivot, and in 2020, Harlem Week was a virtual event for the first time,
Hmm.
all virtual, which
Mm,
was wildly successful.
mm-hmm,
Um, as we all were figuring out what we were doing to create that type of experience for a festival that would traditionally draw a couple million people over the life of the festival, to now be able to reach the globe
mm,
through the magic of the internet. Last year in 2021, we were blessed to be able to do it in a hybrid live and
Hmm.
virtual format. Some of our major standard events were live. Our major outdoor events, whether it was at Grant's Tomb or 135th Street, were in person. But we also did a number of virtual events, and even our live events were also streamed virtually.
nice.
And what it shows is, the ability and the need to be able to use technology, in a way to share information, and use technology for the greater good, as it were, and be able to reach people. It allows us to really take Harlem and Harlem Week globally. So that's
Mm,
something that will continue in 2022 and beyond. Harlem Week will continue to be a hybrid festival with
mm-hmm.
our signature live events. We hope to do more signature live events this year. More of our conferences, maybe, that will be live and that sort of thing. But we will also be doing a number of virtual events that we stream those live events, but also some events that are just virtual,
Mm.
for those people to be able to participate from wherever they are, and everybody can be able to attend Harlem Week, in any part of the world, any part of the country.
Harlem Week goes global. I love it. Exactly.
Yes.
So Chris, do tell us about your experience in terms of having to pivot during this particular period and actually to still do your promotion and marketing of R&B and soul.
Well, basically, I mean, I just stay hunkered down in man cave, in the and just be more observant of what's going on around me. Um, I must say that um, George, and I think Willa, is that her name?
Wilma. Hmm.
Wilma.
Wilma, yes.
It's
Hi.
Wilma, and you
Okay,
could be Willie.
okay, Wilma. Um, in terms of music for the community, I do have something I definitely want to share with you. I believe I did with George some years ago. I don't know if Marko ever got it, but it was my series of Stop the Violence songs and videos, which is being addressed to those who are actually doing the unnecessary killings in our community. It's not addressed to folk who are trying to do the right thing, and hopefully, I wrote all the songs, all 5 of them.
Okay.
Hopefully, that the consciousness of those that are doing this and devastating our communities will listen and watch. And I did have one gentleman, over these past 20 years, who said he definitely put the gun down when he saw the video, The Shoes on the Other Foot, where if I can just briefly, quickly give you a synopsis of it, these guys were out gangbanging. They saw someone, let's say on 125th Street, and they were trying to shoot him, and he ducked, and they shot, and they drove off, and they were laughing, drinking, and said, "Did you get him?" And he said, "I don't know, but somebody's not going to eat tonight. You see all the groceries in there?" And they dap each other up and go home, and he goes home and find out that he shot his mother.
Oh
So
wow. Mm,
yeah, that's just one of the songs, but I'm saying I'm trying to reach the consciousness of those that are doing these unbelievable things in our communities, and I would like to get this over to everyone here on this telecast, this broadcast now, so that you can share it with others, and you never know who might listen and view it and say, you know what, I'm going to stop what I'm doing because it's not assisting or helping what we're trying to do in the community, especially the communities around the United States.
Okay. Well said. One thing I have to say, and all of you guys, I want you to weigh in, is that music has often been a reflection of our times, the times that we live in. And certainly we do know, I remember, what was that, when all the rappers came together to talk about even destruction, we were talking about mass destruction.
Self-destruction.
Yes,
Self-destruction is the
self-destruction.
name of the song.
Thank you, exactly. As well as of White Line, when we heard them talk about that. So tell me, do you think that the music being made today, with just what Chris was pointing out, is a reflection of the times, or have some artists just sticking with frivolous nonsense stuff?
Can I jump in?
Yes.
You made
Go
me
ahead,
think
George.
about the Common song with John Legend about Selma.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of music that's coming out that
Mhm.
has purpose and meaning, but it doesn't get publicized as much as the negative stuff. All right,
Amen.
it takes me back to the Biggie
Totally
and
agree.
Tupac's situation, which Biggie was signed to Uptown Records when I started. Well, let me not say that. Certain medias grabbed hold to it and made it bigger than it was and put it in the general public, and it got blown out of proportion. All right, and we have to be conscious to talk about these great stories that happen so that we can give the positive stuff as well as the media tries to give the negative stuff.
Gotcha.
I think
Go
I
ahead.
think to George's point, I think it's there's always a conversation, or I've always thankfully been a part of the conversation of balance in music. Usually
Yeah.
that conversation is around hip hop, but but it's really kind of in general. It's there's a balance to the music. You know, in every era, there has been music where people are saying, "Oh, that's nothing." In my day, you wouldn't hear that type of thing, and then you hear those who enjoy certain aspects of that music say, "What are you talking about? You're too old, or you don't get it, or whatever." But at least there was a balance. We went through a time where the again based on, like George said, whether it's media or others, you know, have a vested interest in you know upsetting that balance and
Mm-hmm.
only focusing on the negative, uh, whether it's putting out frivolous music or promoting frivolous music or what have you, and not focusing on those things that are more conscious, as it were, or helps put things in more balance. Even during the time of self-destruction, you had, the conscious rappers, the
Mm-hmm.
the Jungle Brothers, the KRS Ones, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But you still also had some of the Cool G raps and Wu Tangs that were not known to be quote unquote as conscious, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a balance, so you can you can at least choose one or the other. And I think we've kind of gotten off of that a little bit
Mm-hmm.
over the years, and partially due to the times, we seem to have that coming back in terms of that balance. So the consumers can then pick, what they want to hear. They can say, all right, I want to hear something that has no redeeming quality whatsoever today, just because it sounds good. That's where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, they can say, you know what, I need to hear something that's going to uplift me today, because that's what I need. So that the balance is what becomes really important in the music.
I want to know. We
Right.
often hear this particular word, appropriation, right? Cultural appropriation. Uh, in music, if I happen to be a white dude and I love R&B or soul music, can I sing it? Can I enjoy it? Can I participate publicly if I want to do that? Or will there be a stigma attached to that? Someone.
Chris,
No.
you should go
Can I
first, Chris.
address what?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Chris.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
address what Marco said?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to address what. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear
I just
you.
want to address what Marco said. Okay, I just want to address what Marco said, and I want to put a thumbs up because when I was at Kiss Radio, I was definitely trying to do that with the PD and saying exactly that. There needs to be a balance. There definitely needs to be a balance in terms of music. Well, as it turns out, the PD really didn't have any control over what was going on the airwaves because of what the general manager was telling them at that particular time. So they were getting information from other sources. And now, as you see today, trying to get a balance where we don't even control the airwaves that goes into our communities in terms of what is actually happening. And more specifically, a lot of the media outlets. So when we say we want to be able to give to the public information regarding positive music, negative music, or any kind of music, we basically don't have any control over that except for like what you're doing.
Okay. Um, anyone weigh in?
The cultural
Well,
appropriation question that you were asking. And again, I'll say what I have to say, and I think Chris, because of his history with the music, is maybe best suited to answer it. But I don't know if I see a cultural appropriation. I see if there is someone who happens to not be black, or let's put it bluntly, happens to be white, but appreciates the music and the culture, then the cultural appropriation is out of the window because we can go back through time and was David Bowie cultural appropriation? David Bowie was a great artist. David Bowie gave Luther Vandross his first real shot.
Wow.
But when Luther Vandross was singing background for him. And there are a number of artists like that who appreciate the culture and appreciate the music when you talk about the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Eric Clapton or what have you. Now, there may be some issues within their individual politics, but they appreciate the music, they appreciate the culture, they clearly understand where it comes from and what what inspired them. And for me, as long as you do that, appreciate the art form and the culture, understand where it comes from, then then you only celebrate this music that we're in. And that's my thought on it. But certainly, Chris and George, you guys should jump in
And
too.
Marco, and what you just said. So you're saying it might have been a little bit more palatable had, let's say, Elvis Presley given more homage to the black folks he was imitating.
If
what
Elvis
this
Presley says, yeah, I did Hound Dog, but who I got it from was Big Mama Thornton, that might be a different conversation, for us as black folk.
Gotcha.
Now,
Hey
I
guys,
think we
can I
have to also address the difference between the culture of music and the business of music, because the
yeah,
question
that's
of
what I wanted to jump in
appropriation
at. If you guys let me.
really shows up when you talk about the business of music, because we know historically that when white people do black music, it becomes more, they have more profitable. They introduce it to a wider audience, and white people love white people doing black music because they love the music. So that's when we get these conversations really to come out, because that's when we see the inequity. Is somebody taking music that black musicians sweated and created the art form, and then somebody else comes with a pale imitation. Pardon the pun. No, don't.
When you work for a record company,
Yeah.
The money. Yeah.
is it okay for me to jump in, guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
You got it,
Yeah.
George.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Please.
When you work for a record company, they have different departments. And the way traditionally it used to work was that there was an urban black department, and they would invest a certain amount of money into those records. If they see those records happening, then they would take it to the and Turbine and then Pop, different divisions of the company, and put twice the amount of money into promotion and marketing. Because all this stuff you're talking about really is promotion and marketing, and that it brings it to a broader audience. That's why they call it popular music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And today, Black music is popular music, where back in those days, it wasn't. With the internet, African music is bigger, world music is bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But in the days of when our parents were around, they would basically take the record, make the music with Black folks, and then copy the record with a white person, and then put the real money behind it. I think today is interesting that there's great collaborations. It's still not what it should be, but they're merging a lot of different styles together. But it really is more about the record and the record business and what's profitable and what research says. Research is the really biggest part. And even with research, they're not giving those monitors to urban environment people. They're giving it to middle-class white folks. And they're bringing the research back that says this record is happening. It's not the feel of the ear anymore. It's what research says.
Gotcha. Chris, knowing that you're the OG here, we want to know in terms of your experience working with some of the acts of the yesteryear. What was it like, traveling with, let's say, the Moments or the Whatnots, groups like that, and what was their, let's say, thoughts or opinions about really trying to get to a wider audience?
Okay, to be honest with you, let's go back in the late 60s. The concern was not trying to reach a wider audience in terms of money, because their concern was not, let me use Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers as a good example from Harlem. Their concern was not so much the money, but one, seeing their name in lights, two, having the celebrityship that they would get. Sherman Garnes, he lived with me for a while, who's the bass singer from the group, and they weren't concerned because they were getting popularity, they were getting women, they were getting a lot of things, the perks that we call. So then you move into the 60s, and a lot of the groups that were put together by someone, maybe they might put themselves together, but they're at the right place at the right time, and now their names are in lights. They're excited about that. They weren't that concerned about having that. That was left up to the management and maybe the agents, whatever. But their concern was, I'm a star and I'm going to utilize this platform the best I can to get those ancillary perks. They weren't really concerned about the money. The first big piece of money that Frankie and them got was $10,000 when they really forced the issues. And Sherman, at least he went and bought a house, but everyone else bought Cadillacs. So, but they were Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. They were happy. So, today more of concern. But get back to your other point in terms of the culture of music and seeing how it is being utilized. A lot of commercials on television today and on the internet, and we know that Black folk created rap in its purest forms that we understand. And now you see these other images doing rap. You see a lot of these other folk, like Shaquille O'Neal, who goes around the country and he's doing a lot of these big shows and whatnot. The guy who's spinning the records and doing the whole thing, whatever they do on those turntables or what they used to do, that's a white guy. It's not to say he's not talented, but we're kind of sort of giving away, or we've given away the cultural component. This is definitely ours. You guys wouldn't even play this on mainstream radio. You'll call it all kinds of names, and now all of a sudden, if you didn't know any better, you would believe that they created it.
Okay.
You know what? I want to jump in because that's
Mhm.
an interesting point. I was thinking about that before Chris spoke. Well, when we talk about cultural appropriation, one of the unsung things about hip hop is that there almost couldn't be cultural appropriation, um, because of the essence of hip hop and how it was created and where it comes from. It created a situation where it really went back to the business,
Mm,
which is what we were talking about.
mm,
Once hip hop blew up and people in the ivory tower, as it were, saw the amount of money
Yeah.
that it was generating, then they were like, well, wait a minute, we got to figure out. But they couldn't do it. It wasn't like you could put a white face on it and redo a hip hop record
mhm.
and then put it out. People
Right.
are gonna accept it. It doesn't work like that. Hip hop insulated itself in that way. Um, and so even to Chris's point about seeing a commercial with a white DJ, um, you know, Kid Rock started out as a white DJ.
That's true. True.
So there, I mean, it again, and there are white hip hop radio personalities, but you can't get to any real level without coming through the quote unquote black experience or coming through that acceptance of the culture in hip hop. And I think it's really interesting that hip hop is has created itself in such a way where it insulates itself in that way from almost any other genre of our music, whether it's jazz, R&B, soul, gospel, whatever it is. To have some type of level of acceptance, you have to be accepted in the community first before you can get some level of success on a mass level. And I think that's a very interesting scenario.
Hey guys, can I
Absolutely.
jump in for 2 seconds? I
Go
want to
ahead,
share
George.
something.
We got you. Go ahead.
When rap started, Fever, Harlem World were
Disco
the
Fever,
foundation of
man.
hip hop.
Nice.
What happened was Russell Simmons got Run DMC, and then they became the biggest pop act in
Hmm.
rap. Walk This Way,
Hmm.
various songs in that area. And in the backdrop, white executives were throwing money at black executives so that they could understand the culture. Faith Newman was one of the white executives at Def Jam.
Mm.
Once they learned their craft, what they did was then Russell came with the Beastie Boys, which
Hmm.
ultimately really took it to pop culture and
Gotcha.
opened it up.
Hmm.
Mm.
But then when Eminem came,
Next
who had
level. Next level.
real hip hop talent,
Yeah.
then they had their Elvis Presley, which
Right.
totally changed the game.
Right.
And what we don't know today is after that, they got rid of black departments. So
Mm.
there's no black department
Yes.
now, like let me get the names right. LaFace,
Hmm.
So Gaff, all of those black labels are gone. And it's only the music business now. And we are not the executives
Yes.
anymore. We have to do, but the business, we've learned the business now. And what we do is we create it on our own now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm. Wow,
The
that was
rise
good.
of independent music and independent labels.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So one of the things now, George, when we were off camera, one of the things that you were talking about, watching again Cadillac Records. Now, Cadillac Records, certainly we do know whatnot, and something that you had also mentioned, Chris, in terms of, let's say, buying the Cadillac instead of, let's say, investing in,
Right.
let's say, mutual funds or any of that stuff, or a home, you bought the Cadillac. So is that still paramount happening now in the business of music today?
It's a different animal. The money is so
Yes.
big that you can still do the $1 million diamonds and still make the money. I got to give credit to the generation that's here now. they are making tons of money off brand marketing. You know what I'm saying? They're the face for cannabis weed and owning their own companies. They're
Right.
they're doing those bio coins. I forgot what you call it, the Bitcoin. They're diversifying their money in a lot of different areas that we're not even, and they're not even going through labels. What happened is the artists like a Nas that gave 20 years to a company and they have their own celebrity now, they understand that they can be independent and maybe not sell 3 million, but they're gonna have 1.5 million real followers and without the record company. You know what I'm saying? And the brands understand that they need those guys and they pay them real money.
What the other
So
thing
yes,
is that the money is not in the music anymore the way it was, and that's part of the issue in digital music with streaming, is that artists don't make the kind of money that they were making when it was just records. But now these other revenue streams, and as you said, it's brand marketing, and the smart artists have diversified. So they might have a liquor brand, they might have a clothing brand, they might invest in technology, and these are the reasons why we're seeing a diversification of assets and income, and they're creating wealth from different places. Right now, the biggest new billionaire in music is Rihanna, but she's not a billionaire from selling records. She's a billionaire from her partnership with Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, which markets her fashion and skincare line. And she has one of the best deals ever, in that she has a 50-50 partnership with the largest luxury brand company in the world, and that made her a billionaire. And so the artists are taking the culture and recognizing that the money right now is not in music royalties, which is a game that's been always tilted against artists, but it's in taking that attention and being able to monetize it in other areas.
and I have to
But
give
the biggest thing now, which is interesting in the digital space, is what they're calling NFTs, and
now
NFTs are
you're going somewhere.
basically it's digital smart contracts, and it's a way that all the revenue splits are automatically encoded in the contract, so that the artists don't have to go through the rigmarole, because no one has talked about the fact that the music business has been dead set in many ways to keep the artist to be the last paid and the least paid. And now there's upends that entirely. And artists now, they can produce it all at home. They don't need the labels the way they needed it before. You used to need that label budget to be able to go in and invest in recording a record. Now most artists have enough equipment at home that they can do 90% of their records, and they don't need the label. And most artists are now doing their own social media. And so I feel like we're about to go into a new era where the balance of power is finally shifting in the way that it should.
I think you're 100% right. They only usually go into the studio maybe to master, and then they pay them for that out of their own pocket. NFTs is a hot new thing. You're absolutely correct about that. And they're more politically conscious now today too. You know what I'm saying? They helped a lot with Barack Obama. You know, we have to give them their roses too. And I think that the
Absolutely.
big reach, and one of the things that me and Wilma are doing under arts and culture is we're working with younger people. And I have to do the promotion on, we have something called a Harlem Talent Initiative or Community Board 10, where we're giving away a single record deal. But in doing that, we're teaching you the music business. We had A&R Jeff Sledge from Epic Records on there. We had Craig Derry, vocal coach to the stars.
Mhm.
We had them teaching the business of music.
Mm.
And the next one we're going to have a social media and a marketing person. And again, what I'm doing is I'm putting the carrot out there to get you to come to the community as well as learn something. And then I have some leverage to give you some of the things that you need. And
Right.
Marko, and I have to say that Marko was way in front of a lot of people with the independent artists.
Mm.
I work underneath Marko in Harlem Week, and we've always had, for the last 45 years, had independent artists that were on the stages as well as Janet Jacksons of the world. So sometimes we have to know the people in the background, and there are things and mechanics happening that people don't know about. So that's
Mhm.
why your show is so important, that we get the opportunity to share that information.
Well, thank you guys. And speaking of what you just said, so um, getting artists out there to get into the music business. Certainly, we do know with streaming services, the artist gets like a fraction of what maybe their true worth is. So, do artists, let's say, for instance, back in the day when I was growing up, one of the groups that I certainly loved, Steely Dan. What Steely Dan was, remember, they were a studio band in essence. So, artists today, you must tour or you must perish. Is that the equation or what? Someone weigh in, please.
It depends on who you are. As independent artists, um, my thing about independent artists, and when I got started really featuring them, some 15, almost 20 years ago, um, you can have artists that people in the mainstream world would never hear about. Let's say,
Mm-hmm.
let's pick an Eric Robertson, for
Hey,
example.
that's the exact name
Right.
I was
Okay.
going to say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
But he has been, living for years, decades now, building his own fan base, touring, doing his own records independently. And he's just one of, he happens to be, I always call him the king of independent music, but he's just one of many. There's the
Mm.
Maya Azucenas, the Kanye Dawes, Raheem
Raheem
Devon
Devon.
for a long time, the Yazara. Um, I could go on and on and on and on, um, in all genres, not just quote unquote soul music, but rock and hip hop as well. Somebody like a newer artist like a Marcus Machado, who
Mm.
performs with some of everybody and is lauded as the next uh, young gun guitarist.
Mm.
So it's there is a so from the perspective of touring or eating, it's performing, connecting, and building your own fan base. Going back to what we were talking about before about somebody like a Nas who spent 20 years building a fan base and now has his own fan base that he can, you know, make money off of, not in a direct way like that, but with brand marketing, etc., etc. It's building your own fan base, and then that is the key to open up doors to the multiple streams of income that you can create.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Chris, you want to
I
weigh
got to
in?
give
I'm,
a shout out to
Yeah.
Nas with music, video music box. He just did a
wow.
documentary with Ralph
Absolutely.
Daniels. Ralph McDaniels was the first guy to
Yep.
support hip hop,
That's
and his
right.
archives is amazing.
He bought
You know
it
what I'm
front and
saying? So,
center. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Dapper Dan, who created a brand out of Harlem. I can't be on this call and not give those kudos to the guys that came before me. Fat Jack, who made Harlem World. There's unsung heroes in our community that we have to give our props to.
Absolutely. And you know what, Wilma, I definitely have to give major props to you and Paul for literally the restaurants in the community, really focusing on them. I don't know how many people have said that they saw X being featured on, let's say, the What's Eating Harlem, and then decided to actually give that restaurant or establishment a try. So major kudos for really putting that stuff front and center, out there.
And
Thank
can
you.
I build on that for 1 second? Having Wilma as vice chair of Community Board 10 is an amazing thing. She has the relationship with all the city government people.
She does.
We
She
had
does.
the mayor's office
That's right.
on our call. So I take my hat off to her. I work for her, and happy to be able to do that because we work as a team. Nobody's no bigger than nobody, and we get it done. And thank you, Wilma, for giving me the opportunity to work with you.
No,
Beautiful.
thank you. And thank you guys for inviting me. I'm just getting a kick listening to you guys. All of your journeys through this music industry. So thank you for inviting me for sure. This has
Absolutely.
definitely been a learning lesson for me.
You,
I'm loving it.
you got it. You got it. Night Watchman, what do you
So,
want to say?
well, I think we've got to start wrapping up. So, I think we probably want to maybe go around one more time and give everybody a chance to just leave us with some parting commentary.
Absolutely. Okay. What you want to start off, Chris?
All right. I just say once again, thank you for having me involved with this. It's just wonderful to be here with everyone, especially Marko and George and the rest of you. I mean, I would like for us to, in closing, perhaps do something like this live when things loosen up in terms of our health concerns, to be able to have these kind of sessions live somewhere and just shoot the breeze, as we say, regarding stuff that will impact us from a musical standpoint, culturally, and community wise. And it's great meeting you, Wilma.
Nice. Chris, done. What you just said, done. And Wilma, you were on mute, but you know what? I saw the head nod, so I know the sentiment. So yes, got you. Well, since I'm on you now, Wilma, go ahead. Do tell some parting words.
I first and foremost want to say happy Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
It actually means something to all of us. It
Mm-hmm.
may mean something different, but it's all the same. Happy Martin Luther King Day. And thank you, Bob and Curtis, for inviting me to your show. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're more than
Thank you
welcome.
for
More than
coming.
welcome. Yes, indeed. Marko, you legend, you. Go ahead.
And you use that term extremely loosely when you talk about me. But anyway, certainly again, happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone. Martin Luther King Day is not just today, but throughout as we continue to look to embody what he was about, what he stood for, what he fought for. Thank you. You both for having me on the show. I
Mhm.
appreciate being able to be a part of Soul Lounge Prime Time. I encourage, I will remind everybody that I do have a show, Rhythm and Soul Radio,
Mhm.
which is on tomorrow and every Tuesday night on
Nice.
WHCR 90.3 FM, also on WHCR.org. 10 p.m. to midnight, again, every Tuesday night. And then if you want to hear more Rhythm and Soul Radio, then there is our full radio station, internet radio station that we built based on our radio show that we've done here at WHCR for a number of years, rhythmandsoulradio.com. It's been a pleasure being a part of this conversation, and we try to incorporate a lot of the stuff that we've talked about within this conversation within Rhythm and Soul Radio and rhythmandsoulradio.com. So hopefully folks will be able to take a listen and be able to ping pong back and forth between Soul Lounge Prime Time and Rhythm and Soul Radio to continue to get the essence of music in its breadth and total form.
Beautiful.
Don't
Thank you,
miss it.
Marko, for that. George, go ahead, my brother.
First, happy Martin Luther King Day.
Mhm.
Guys, thank you so much for allowing me to be on this call. Maxwell ticket giveaway, Community Board 10, February 14th, 6 o'clock is the call. Tickets will be given away. The show is on March 11th, second Monday of every month. Arts and Culture Community Board 10, and happy to be a part of the Village of Harlem. Thank you so much for having me on your call.
Beautiful.
And one more thing, if you don't mind, do not forget to vote January the 18th.
That's
Please
right.
follow
That's
up with your
Tuesday.
poll sites.
Tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow,
January the 18th.
the
Exactly.
18th. Remember that. And
Thank
on
you.
another, I guess, housekeeping note, Columbia University CU Grow Vendor Development Program is accepting applications for their 6th cohort. If you are an MWBE firm within the construction industry, this will be an excellent opportunity to work with a dedicated coach, marketing and construction expert in 2022. To learn more about the program, visit cugrow, one word, columbia.edu and apply today. If you have any questions, email the team at cu-grow@columbia.edu. Thank you all. Night Watchman, take us home.
You've been listening to Soul Lounge Prime Time on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. You can follow us online on our YouTube channel. We are 7 o'clock on Monday evenings. We are 8 o'clock live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. I am Bob Poncé, the Night Watchman, and of course, I'm here with my partner, DJ LeRoy, aka Curtis Archer. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for this stellar team, and everyone. Stay well, stay positive.